let's jump into today's topic. So it's all about launch strategies. Now, I'm just going to run through some of the basics first, because you can have the most amazing launch, but if you haven't mastered this, then you're really kind of just throwing money at the wall, hoping it will stick. You want to make sure you've got a great product. Use FBA. Amazon favors FBA, especially in emerging marketplaces. Turn on your review automator tool. So if you're a ZonGuru user, that's a no-brainer. Make sure you turn that one on and put some beautiful product inserts into your packaging to prompt your buyers to take action. We'll get to some more of that later, but you want to make sure you've identified your keywords, that you've optimized your product listing, and that you've used high quality photos and videos. So they're the no-brainers. I'm not going to dwell on them. We do have different trainings on pretty much every single one of those points. So if I have said something that you're not quite sure on, dive into our training replays or reach out to support. That's support at ZonGuru, and they'll point you in the right direction. But what my point is that if you're going to launch, make sure you're confident in your product, that you've got all your ducks in a row, you've done the groundwork, which I'm sure all of you have or you're in the process of doing. So I just wanted to point out this photo. This is real. It's a real Amazon listing. It's actually on Amazon Australia. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I would be buying that tent. And if I actually, and this points to number 6, have a look at what's eye-catching. If I jump on Amazon, this is their listing. And, it's 5-star rating. So it's potentially a really great product, but they haven't captured it here. And even in the first bullet point, I don't know if that's too small to read, but they've said, we've made a few adjustments since the last batch, which had leaking issues. I mean, to point out that your tent has leaked in the past, it's probably not the smartest thing to do. They're also saying that the price will increase after modifications, which, doesn't match this one anyway. Nothing is cohesive about this. Whereas if I look at the camping tent niche in general on Amazon Australia, you can see that, some of them are doing it really well. They're crisp, clean images. You want to make sure you're in this category, not this category. So just some food for thought there about mastering the basics. And, if you're in the tent category, don't say that your tent's leaked. That's just a no-brainer. So once you've got those basics right, you want to launch, which is awesome. So the first thing you're going to want to know is your ZonGuru launch score. Now, does anybody know what that is? Have they seen it? Do they know where to find it? It's a really helpful metric that basically tells you how many sales you need on a daily basis to get to page 1. Now, this can be from, organic sales. It can be through PPC, from outside traffic, from all sources, how many you need to move to get to that page 1 ranking. Now, let me show you where to find that score. So Keywords on Fire. Has anyone used Keywords on Fire? It's one of our most popular tools, so I'm sure that you've heard of it or played around with it a little bit. But basically what I've done here is find my keywords. That's what the tool's designed for. It's a reverse ASM lookup. So based on a list of products that you've got or a keyword search phrase, what ZonGuru does is it data mines all those products. Great, we've got some Keywords on Fire fans in the room. It data mines all those products to work out what keywords are being used to find them. Because remember, keywords are your signposts. They're how people find you on Amazon. So you really want to make sure that you have all the keywords that are relevant to your product contained in your listing, included in your PPC campaigns, so that you can get as many people finding your products as possible. Now, I've stayed in the Australian marketplace. You can see the little Aussie flag at the top up here. And because of that, the search volumes aren't as high as what you would be used to seeing on the US, but I like to look at it as the opportunity is much, it's a smaller launch budget. The competition isn't as tight. there's a lot of opportunity there now, and that's what's getting me excited, and that's why I've focused today's training on Australia specifically, but it applies across the board. So you can see I've got my list of keywords here that I'm interested in targeting, and this column, this ZG launch score, is the one that I'm interested in pointing out. And like I said, it's telling me how many I need to move each day to rank on page 1 for the particular keyword. So it's, between up to 5 a day, I'll be ranking quite well for these keywords. So 5 is my goal. If I was to launch a tent, 5 would be how many I'd want to sell each day. The reason why that's helpful to know is because what you can measure, you can manage. You can work out how much money you need to apply to PPC campaigns, how much traffic you need to drive to, from outside sources. Well, maybe you want to run some campaigns. You know exactly what you need to do. Now that number's available, for each keyword, for each marketplace, all that information is there. So there's no reason why you wouldn't set that goalpost. Now, with that in mind, we want to start getting into how do we launch? How do we get people excited? Because we all know that Amazon is, it's largely social proof. There's a lot of people that have, it's price sensitive. There's so many things going on. Sometimes when you're new and you don't have that social proof behind you, offering some sort of discount or benefit can really give people the confidence to click add to cart. So that could be a percentage off, a dollar value discount, buy one, get one free. Obviously, it depends on the product. So if I'm selling a camping tent, it makes no sense really to offer buy one, get one free. There's not many people that need 2 tents. That might be where a percentage off or a dollar value discount applies more. So, using common sense there and working out what's best for your product is going to be best. But just an example, you can see here, the little green highlight. It's hard to see on that page. Let me go back to the camping tents. When there is a discount, it stands out a lot because it's highlighted here, like this one here, save $7. So any sort of coupon or discount stands out, and it also tells you when you drill into the product, what you're saving. So it can be eye-catching. Amazon loves a good deal. It may help you start making those first few sales. The idea being, once you make some of those sales, obviously you can drop those promotions, coupons and things. Once you've got the reviews on the board, you're starting to rank. But when you first launch a product, you've got 1 to 2 weeks grace period where Amazon will bump you up in the rankings. So you really want to make sure that if you're running promotions and coupons, it's in those first 2 weeks where you've got that additional airtime from Amazon. You're doing everything you can to get someone to click on that listing. So that's a good time to start running those. The other thing is maybe price strategically. So this isn't something that I personally use. I don't tend to use the coupons and things so much. They did used to have a giveaway program where you could do like a competition via Amazon where, people 1 in 100 might win one of your products, but first they have to watch a video or something like that. That's been canned. That was canned last year. So now I tend to price strategically when I launch. So I might come in with a slightly lower price point when I launch. Once I get those ratings on the board, I creep my price point back up to where I want it to be, because the whole idea is to get the buy and get the review. So, on average, the tipping point I've found personally is once you've got 10 reviews on the board, people start to trust your product a lot more. You start to see quite a large increase in sales. One thing to keep in mind is if you make your price too cheap, so if you discount it, there's no hard and fast rule, but I found around that 20% mark, if it's more than that, sometimes they can't leave a review because Amazon considers it to be, not incentivized, but they're not paying proper price for the proper price for the product, so they may not allow the review. So it's just something to keep in mind there. So pricing can be really sensitive on launch, especially if you're a new brand, no reviews. If it's a super competitive market, you don't want to get into a price war, but just on those first few weeks when you're launching, if it can help drive you up the rankings, it can be well worth it. Now, this is probably the most popular way to really fire up your launch, pay-per-click advertising, PPC, but it can be the most complicated to really get your head around. So I thought today, you could do a whole week's worth of training on PPC, but I just wanted to give you a few things to really keep in mind when you're dealing with PPC. There's 3 types of advertising you can do: sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. Now, I've put here roughly what they do. So sponsored products drive sales. And if I flick back to my example here, sponsored products, you can see have the little gray sponsored icon here. It's quite discreet. You may not see it if you're just scrolling through. Doesn't stand out dramatically, but you're basically showcasing one of your products. And it appears at the top of the search, usually in prime positions. The next one is sponsored brands, which sits at the very top. So Cura Outdoors, they're running a sponsored brands campaign, and that's where you develop brand awareness. You can obviously make sales through here, but the idea is you're showcasing a range of products. The third one is a little bit sneaky. So if I click on the best sellers, sponsored display sits to the side. So this is a sponsored display, and it's designed to disrupt your competition. So someone clicks on this listing, they like what they see, and right before they go to add to cart, the sponsored display ad is here. So, you go, oh, actually, this is more what I'm looking for. I'm going to click through and click this one now. So they're the 3 types. Yes, just to answer your question, there will be a replay. You'll get that in your inbox about 4 to 5 hours after the event. So yeah, definitely if you've missed anything, there will be a replay in the inbox. So if I go back here, the other thing that comes up a lot is how much should I spend? What should I spend on PPC? There's no, every seller is going to be different. It will depend on your budget, your product, how comfortable you are. What I like to say is if you've got a really limited budget, start with sponsored products. If your budget's a little bit bigger, cover sponsored products and sponsored brands. If you've got a big budget, go all 3. So it's, minimal budget, medium budget, big budget, and you just start incorporating them out. So I find that's a really good, overview to keep in mind with PPC, what the purpose of each one is and where you should be, leveling your budget at. So the other thing with PPC is you've got manual and automatic campaigns. Manual is where you get to choose your keywords. Automatic is where Amazon chooses them for you. So good practice when you're launching is to definitely have your manual campaign running, but maybe start an automatic one as well, because Amazon might find you keywords that you weren't aware of. But the main point here is that it's not set and forget. You need to keep checking in, especially in that launch period, to see which ones are driving the sales and which ones are just chewing through your budget. Remember, PPC is pay per click, so you only get charged if someone clicks on your ad. So if you're finding lots of people are clicking on your ad, but it's not converting, but then there's another keyword where people are clicking on your ad and converting, maybe turn off or reduce the spend on the one that's not converting and put it through to the other one. So I've just got a question comes through from Rukhsana. So is it worthwhile to do PPC and dollar value discount or percentage discount at the same time? Yeah, absolutely. So your launch is where you really want to throw the kitchen sink at it. So once you start ranking, you can then scale back on those things. Again, it depends on your budget, depends on your product. You really need to think about what's going to work for you. So if you've got a minimal budget, maybe you do a sponsored products PPC campaign and a small percentage discount or something like that. Run it for 2 weeks, keep reviewing it, keep tweaking it. You could dial back the discount, or you could, it's all very flexible. What I'm trying to get at is not, let's just do this and walk away. Each couple of days, each day, especially in launch, check in, find out what's working, and redirect your spend there. So this can be done with any sort of budget. It doesn't need to be someone with a huge budget that's launched thousands of products. This can be really you can change the format to fit anything. But what this is all about is out of the box strategies. Everything I've just run through is common knowledge to everyone. Quick Google, you'll get all this information. What I wanted to go through is some creative ways, or ways that I've found in the past really work, that you may not have heard of. So let's look at external traffic. I believe this is the most underrated source of clicks and conversions that you can possibly find. So what I like to do is, and it depends on your product, again, I know I keep saying that, but you need to think about who your product resonates with. Is it highly visual? Is it something that maybe works well on a YouTube channel? Create that audience outside of Amazon. And it works in so many ways. Like Amazon's terms of service around communication is very strict, and for a good reason. So having an audience that you can communicate to in your own way, say you've got a launch coming up, you can shout it from the rooftops, you can get them to share photos, images, engage with them. You know who they are, they can connect directly with you, so they enjoy it as well. Having that channel can be a huge, huge win. So it can be overwhelming to start from scratch. Gaining momentum, quality followers can be really difficult, but you don't have to start from scratch. So there are websites where you can, so this one here, for example, I've got the cat image. There is an Instagram account for pretty much anything. And like anything, people are willing to buy and sell things. So say, for example, I was selling cat products. I can buy for, that's negotiable, for say $100, 3,100 engaged cat lovers. So I instantly have an audience of 3,000 people. I can say, hey, I'm bringing out a new cat bed, or whatever it might be. Of course, you need to own that content as your own, engage. There's going to be a few drop-offs if you're taking over an account, but what I'm trying to get at is you have an audience that already loves your niche. It's just a matter of engaging with them, growing it, market it to them. Say you took on an account like this and then launched a month or two later, who knows what you could grow that follow account to. You're not starting from scratch. You know that they love what you're selling. It's a win-win. You direct those people back to your Amazon storefront or your Amazon product, and you have a huge external traffic source that Amazon loves. Amazon loves external traffic. You will notice a dramatic bump in your rankings using that type of strategy. So the other thing you can do with that is, once you've got that engaged following, is run competitions just with that audience. It makes them feel special. In Amazon, you can actually create specific promo codes just for your social media followers. So again, it really helps create that audience, create that wow factor. And like I said, there's an Instagram account for everything. There's thousands of different websites that you can go to for that. It's worthwhile doing, and it's not a huge expense, as you can see. And the other thing I would recommend doing is, say you are using Instagram or some other format, have something called Instalinks, which this is what it looks like when it's on your phone. It basically gives you a whole heap of different links you can click on. So say, for example, you were selling in different marketplaces. You had US, Australia, UK. You can have a separate button for each one. So when someone likes what they see on your social platform and they click through to your bio, where would you like to shop? And each one links to your Amazon store in that particular area. So it can be, amplified. It can be so many different things. Maybe you're running different brands. Think bigger than the Amazon platform itself, if there was any takeaway there. But that's a huge win when you can really drive that external traffic through your launch period. And the other just final thing I would say on that launch period is, sometimes your products will get to Amazon, but it will take them, I've had up to a week, but often a few days, where they then ship it out to the different warehouses around the country. And you'll find that until your product is available for that same or next day delivery, you won't get as many clicks. So don't let that disappoint you on your launch. You'll notice once your product is available in terms of delivery, you'll see a big uptick there. I've just seen Jordan send through a question. Do you have to do giveaways during launch, or can you use a strategy of PPC only or PPC and coupons? So you don't have to do anything. There's no requirement to do anything at all. It's really on a per seller basis. And you can do you can do coupons, discounts at any time. It doesn't have to be just during your launch. But the point is, during those first 2 weeks when you take a product to Amazon, Amazon gives you preference. So you want to make sure that you get the absolute maximum, make the most of that opportunity, because it's not often that Amazon will give you that space. So take it with both hands. So if you do have room for PPC, you do have room to run other campaigns, that's the time to do it. Ian, I just thought, there will be a replay available, and if anyone would like the PowerPoint presentation separately, just let me know, I can send it through. But main takeaways are, once you get your basics right, have a look, make sure that your, things like your keyword strategy and your listing, they're all your basics, they're your fundamentals, that's your starting point. For your launch, those 2 weeks, you really need to maximize. Look at your PPC. Definitely look at your external sources. If there's any tip, you don't have to start from scratch. Like I just showed you, that one was cheap for 3,000 followers. There's some that have 50,000, 60,000. Sky's the limit. So just some thoughts there. What I might do, because I can see I'm coming up to the half an hour mark, is just open it up for any Q&A if anyone has any comments, or I'd love to hear other launch strategies that people have, any tips that they've gone through that that they think might help the room. Everyone's got their own approach. Maybe you're on the cusp of launching. I'd love to know where you're at with that. Cool. I'm just going to make some notes for the people that would like the PowerPoint presentation. Awesome. If you are coming up to a launch, I definitely wish you all the best. It is a really crazy time. If you've got the ZonGuru app, have that close by, because when those notifications, those ka-chings go through, it's such a validation. That feedback loop is coming back, because often, it takes 6 to 9 months, sometimes much, much longer, to get a product. And, finally having someone click that purchase is validation of all that hard work. So it's an amazing feeling. Lois has just said, I'm launching and feel overwhelmed with everything. Yes, you're not alone there. A launch checklist. That's actually a really good point. I'll dig up some research, some resources for you, Lois. Feeling overwhelmed about it, I can guarantee you're not alone. Everyone gets really nervous before that event. Like I said, when you're creating your product and you're doing all the work, you really are in a little bit of a void, because most things you do in life, you have that feedback coming back to you. With Amazon, you don't necessarily get that feedback until you launch, which can be scary, which can be really overwhelming. And there's lots of people telling you to do different things. It can be, really overwhelming. But you just remember, you're surrounded by a lot of people who are in that same situation. So if there's anything the ZonGuru team can do, and I'm sure there's other people in this room that are happy to be there, just reach out, support@zonguru.com, and we will definitely help you any way we can. So Jordan's just said, is still having trouble sourcing. Yes. That is quite common. I'm just wondering, have you thought about hiring a sourcing agent? They're not as expensive as they sound. You might be surprised. You find a good one. It works really well if you have a product that you specifically have the requirements in mind. You know exactly what you're looking for. Sometimes language can be an issue. Having someone on the ground who can visit different factories for you, who can connect the dots. Maybe there's something you need from one location and something from the other. They're really going to help with that. And you'll find them, there's, whether it's on Upwork, Fiverr, or Alibaba itself, there's listings for sourcing agents everywhere. Obviously, it's like anything, you need to screen them, make sure they know their stuff. But if you're really having trouble, that might be the way to go. I know I've found it's super helpful to have somebody on the ground doing that heavy lifting. So Sue's just said, I have run out of stock. It will be another month at least before my shipment arrives. Yeah. So if it makes you feel better, I'm actually in the same situation with one of my products, and it's quite painful to watch because Amazon doesn't like you running out of stock, but it's not the end of the world. If you have a great product and you know that sales history previously, it might take a few weeks. You might be, taking one step back, but you will move forward quite quickly. So with that, I would say, definitely start those PPC campaigns. Start, maybe you do launch with some sort of promotion or something like that, but just have that in your mind that, there'll be a small period of time where I need to get my rankings back. Survey the environment. Are there new competitors there? Are you priced at the right price point? Just a quick check-in to the niche. But yeah, it's just going to be a time thing, which, it sucks, but that's part of business. Managing inventory is one of the hardest things, especially during a pandemic. If anyone in the room is selling, they'll understand that shipping hasn't been the easiest thing to manage, but hopefully things will return to normal soon. So I'm just PowerPoint slides for Jane, not a problem. There's a few people saying that it is overwhelming. If it was easy, everybody would do it. I find if you break it down into small actionable steps, so maybe you set aside one day just to consider, your pricing strategy. The next day, maybe you have a look at PPC. Have those little milestone events. Suddenly it's doable and it's done within a small period of time. Whereas if you sit down with this mountain of work, life gets in the way, it's overwhelming, you'll quickly find something else to do. So there's no silver bullet to that. It's just, breaking it down into manageable steps, but just know you're certainly not alone. So Rukhsana's just asked where the review automator is, and I think that's a fantastic thing to point out because it's an amazing tool. So under customer engagement, if you can see my mouse here, there's two tools, Review Automator and Email Automator. So Review Automator, if you haven't got this switched on, I'm in the demo file at the moment, so it's not going to show me, but all you need to do is click this little button. That's it. And what will happen is every time you make a sale, ZonGuru will actually send the Amazon template out for a review request, but it's smart enough that it will skip pending or refunded orders. So the reviews that are sent out, they're more likely to be 5-star reviews you get in return. It's set and forget. You don't need to come back in and check it. It will tell you when it's sent out. It will show you when reviews are coming in. Super helpful tool. And it's just, it's one less thing that you need to think about. So turn it on. If you've got it, it will do the work for you. Oh, great, Lois. I didn't even see that you answered that. Thank you. Just seeing if there's other questions. So, and does Amazon allow you to have 2 Seller Central accounts? Yes, they do. So common misconception there is that they don't. Amazon will allow you to have 2 separate accounts for a good reason. So you might have 2 separate brands. A requirement is that they each hold different bank accounts. They won't let you set up 2 seller accounts with the same bank account. They need to be completely separate. So maybe you are in business with somebody, so you want to keep that separate to your personal Amazon seller account. So let them know before you do it, and make sure you have 2 separate accounts, and if there is no issues there, you can definitely do it. Let me just write down some more names who want that. And David, no worries. Oh, there's a few more. if I miss anybody who wants the slides, just reach out to support and I'll make sure that they're sent through. So Jordan, as long as it's under, perfect. I've got a really great room today and I love it when people help each other. So just, yeah, you nailed it, Jordan. They will let you have 2 separate accounts if you do everything right. Awesome. So if anybody is on that verge of launching, I really sincerely wish you all the best, and all that hard work will definitely pay off, no doubt. But if anyone's got any other questions, just send them through. Otherwise, it looks like we've got a really quick one today. Must have been that extra coffee I had this morning. But otherwise, the next training we've got is going to be actually, if you're in the Australian time zone, next Saturday with John, or if you're in the US time zone, that falls on a Friday afternoon. So John's trainings are always amazing. There's lots there. And something else that I wanted to point out, just with that outside traffic, not sure if you're aware or not, but YouTube is actually hosting a free event. The event is all designed around, how to create content. There's real life case studies, what equipment you need, and it's not all the fancy stuff you'd expect. And, when you think, I'm an Amazon seller, I don't need to know this. Say we took that camping tent as an example. If you had a YouTube channel that went through videos on how to pack right for camping, recipes to make well camping, how to put up your tent, there's so much content there you can create. You've got an engaged audience that loves your content. And then, if you then say, hey, I'm coming out with a new camping mattress, they're more likely to buy from you. You can link straight to your Amazon store. So I'll drop the link in for that event, just if anyone's listening. I think it's being held in the next couple of days. So, it's coming up soon. But all these extra strategies, they're not as difficult as they sound. Like I mentioned, you don't need to start from scratch. Make life easier for yourself where you can. So yeah, that's one there as well. My email contact, Ian, the best way to reach me, and I'm on there all the time, is support@zonguru.com. So that's manned 24/7 by the team. And, I regularly jump in there. I find it's the best way to really connect with people, to understand what's going on. I enjoy speaking to people, helping people. So yeah, I'm always there, and I'll keep an eye out for your name in support. The other thing I would mention as well is, if anybody does have 2 minutes, if that, it's not much at all. If you do enjoy the training content, it would be amazing to hear from you. I'm just going to drop another link in the chat, and basically it's just your chance to give any feedback, whether it's positive or negative. It's all good. Just like a real Amazon seller, I'm open to it all. How we can do things better, or what really does help you. Any suggestions for future trainings? I have written down, the launch checklist, because I think that's incredible and would help a lot of people. But yeah, anything else, guys, send it through. Otherwise, I wish you all the best, and I'll see you on a future training. Otherwise, I'll be in support.